The man known as Dr. Sebi claims to have found the cure for several life-threatening diseases, including AIDS. Too good to be true? Well, you be the judge. The lump in Myrtle Rick's left breast is gone.
I haven't had any symptoms or problems or anything.
Sabrina Peterson's son no longer disabled by sickle cell anemia.
He has a lot of energy. I have to make him rest.
Disease is cured by this man. His name is Dr. Sebi, but you won't find a medical degree hanging from his wall. Instead, a certificate of healing.
We have complex things with science, but if we go back to God and use the herbs as God said, then you can see how simple it is. Then
Dr. Sebi believes what ails you can be cured with natural alkaloid herbs and a vegetarian diet solely made up of what he calls electric foods, mushrooms, greens, and rye breads without starch.
Hippocrates established the principle of medical science by using herbs to cure diseases, then why the physician using the chemicals?
40 years ago, a doctor in Mexico cured Sebi of diabetes, asthma, and obesity with the very same herbs and diet he dispenses to all of his patients, whether they're suffering from lack of energy or full-blown AIDS.
That package is an intracellular chelation. I'm removing plaque from the system. I'm removing inflammation. That is the base for all disease.
And according to a medical affidavit provided by Dr. Sebi, it's working. It shows a patient diagnosed with HIV in November of 1993 was cured 2 months later. Thousands of patients worldwide swear by his methods and natural herbal medicines.
In the tiny village, Lisa sought guidance for body and soul from an herbal guru named Dr. Sebi.
Dr. Sebi, according to him, can cure anything. Everything from trying to lose weight to looking for a cure for AIDS. People go there with hopes and dreams that Dr. Sebi can somehow save them.
She had been through so many intense problems in her career and in her life and in her personal life that she didn't know where to turn. And this doctor, she said, had shown her how to really open up and cleanse all of the negativity out of her.
She told me she was suffering with alcoholism and that she was smoking excessively, cigarettes, drinking and smoking. She asked me, what do I need to do to stay on the side of peace? I said, fast, do what Jesus did. She said, what did Jesus do? He fasted for 40 days and 40 nights.
Midway through her 40-day ordeal, an obviously gaunt Lisa spoke with MTV News.
I've been polluting my body for 30 years. 40 days is not a long time to me to fast. 40 days represents overcoming death. It's the number of days that Jesus fasted for, and I kind of feel like I'm on a journey sometimes. Don't really know quite where I'm headed.
At the ending of the fasting, she came to me. I heard the door opening at 2 o'clock in the morning. She said, I completed my fast this morning. I said, what did you see? I saw God. She said, I'm going to make you famous. I said, how? Because I'm going to talk about you. Does everyone know you cure AIDS and cancer?
There's just a lot of people in the world who are suffering. They're sick. They're not happy. They're looking for answers. They don't know where to turn. Well, I know a man who's been curing AIDS since 1987. This guy has taught me a lot, and I need to share my knowledge, with the world.
Thanks to God, the message is here. The message of healing is here. Why? Because Hajar, that had a hole in her heart when she was only 6 months of age, was cured. Now Hajar is 15. Mecca is in Atlanta, Georgia. She had a tumor in her frontal lobe and she was blind from age 8 to age 11. She's no longer blind and she's seeing. We have Akila Stroud who lives now in Minnesota. She had sickle cell anemia. She was cured. And we have Mr. Stringfellow from Atlanta, Georgia, that had diabetes. He was cured in 7 days. So ladies and gentlemen, I could go on and on and on and on and on and on and on, and I could produce diagnostic sheet in Honduras where people was cured of AIDS in less than 2 months. To you, it would be a miracle, but to us, it's common sense. What do? The message is here. Because there's evidence. There's surmountable amount of people that would give testimonies as to that they were cured, tumors in their breasts, passing tumors from the uterus, insanity and the rest. So we ask you not to believe what we say, because life is not based on belief. Life is based on what you know. And the fact of the matter is, we are not in love anymore, simply because we're not eating the foods that were designed for us. So therefore, we are left vulnerable to the discretion of others. And in that vulnerability, anger is the result. This is what the African biomineral balance that is responsible for curing AIDS, sickle cell, lupus, herpes, blindness, and many, many, many others, impotence, paralysis, was done because there is an understanding. But we are here to show that that interpretation that we have of God has given us the privilege to heal many people. The Bible says that the herbs are for the healing of the nations in the book of Genesis. It goes further in the book of Ezekiel. Herbs are for healing and the leaves are for medicine. The fruit shall be for meat. It goes on to the book of Revelation. Herbs are for healing. So we ask the question, if the book that represents God Almighty states that the herbs are for the healing of the nations, what happened to us that when we got sick we went to get a chemical and injection? What happened to us that goes now to get an injection and a chemical? What is the message that we are sending? The connection comes when one turns to God and begin to ingest electric food. And that is what we offer at the house of Osama. Electric food to electrify the system. And because of that, we were arrested and tried. And thanks God, because we were consistent and we continue to do so, we had to win our case. Yes, brothers and sisters, healing is here. But healing brings love. Welcome. Welcome to another chronicle in healing, another chapter. Here we have in front of us the Usha Research Institute. The Usha Research Institute is located on the north coast of Honduras, which is a country in Central America. We chose this area because we have thermal waters here. Waters that are highly curative. We have also the enjoyment of that backdrop that you see there, which are the mountains that ranges from Guatemala all the way to Nicaragua. It is called, the group of mountains is called In the Name of God, En Nombre de Dios. So we chose this area to bring you this new chapter. This new chapter, as we chose to call it, and it is because it seems as though many of the things that would be discussed and talked about and explained to you are things that we were not prepared. We were not prepared for, because the schools did not prepare us to understand that which is natural from that which is unnatural. But don't feel that you are ignorant or less than. What happened is that the schools did not prepare us, but that does not mean that we are not capable of digesting a piece of information
once that information is presented in the proper way. So therefore, we're going to begin to journey into this healing thing. This healing journey that has been approached by so many different ways and by so many people since time immemorial. Today, we're going to try to decipher the undecipherable for you, that we could journey on a better footing, understanding what is health, what is healing, and how does the human body interrelate with these things we call plants. We want to understand, because it seems as though much of what has been said to us and shown to us has not been exactly right. They have not helped in the areas that we would like to be helped. So, we're going to take our time and we're going to walk through this thing, of course. You're going to see things that you have not seen before, because as I look at the menu of the American herbal position, many of the herbs that we use here in Usha are not mentioned in any of those books. And many of the herbs that are mentioned in those books are hybrid, meaning that they are artificial. And this is the reason why we fall short of the goal. The goal is receding faster than we could run. So please, let us take our time and walk into this thing. We're going to talk about the things that we need to hear, and we're going to explain the things that were not explained. So just take our time. So we're going to go and take a little walk to show the thermal waters. These are the thermal waters. These waters come out of the ground at the temperature of 210 degrees Fahrenheit. Sometime above boiling point, sometime a little below, which, 212 is the boiling point. But this water has known to cure instantly nerve condition, nerve problem. We have Kaposi sarcoma. In the case of AIDS, people come here with these vicious sores, as they are called, Kaposi sarcoma. And in 4 days, those sores disappear. This is crystal clear. Make no mistake that in the United States there are parts there are health centers that offers what they call hot springs. Now, we don't offer any hot springs here. Hot springs only means that water is flowing over a hotbed, but it does not contain the minerals that you find in a thermal spring that is the result of volcanic activity. Well, here in Central America, we have over 50 volcanoes, and we sit in the middle of them. So naturally, we're going to receive the benefit of such presence of the volcanoes. So here we have the result, the thermal waters that the Usha Research Institute has to offer. Here is a plant in front of us that is known in Central America by the Spanish-speaking Indians. They call him Sauco. Sauco is a plant that in the berries we find that the mineral of iron is found. Iron phosphate is found in these berries, and these berries are responsible for us reversing a lot of diseases that sits in the blood. It contains iron phosphate. This plant, the Sauco, when it sends its roots into the ground, it converts that oxide mineral into a liquid digestible substance the process is known as iontrophoresis, or the conversion from a solid to a liquid. And here Mother Nature has converted iron, which is solid, into a berry for you to enjoy. And over here, we find now that the flower, unlike the berries that contain
iron phosphate, the flour now is a different chemistry. Here we have potassium phosphate. When the children here in Central America has fever, rest assured that the mother would come here and ask me to give them some of the flour of the sauco to remove the fever, because it means that inflammation is sitting someplace in the body. And this is extremely effective because of its high content of iron and potassium phosphate, the sauco. Yes, here we have, out of the bowels of Mother Nature, another gift for us. One of the most beautifulest plants in the world. I mean, it has these beautiful flowers, purple flowers and green leaves. If I was an artist, I would have never integrated both, but look at what Mother Nature is doing. This plant is responsible for many, many, many things. First, just go to the central nerve system and the prostate gland. This plant is effective not only in the prostate gland of men, but in the reproductive organs of women. This plant, to me, is one of the most valuable plants. But it has a little secret, if there's such a thing, which I don't like to use the word, but it's something that should be known, that the blue vervain, as it is called, and rightfully so, the blue vervain. The blue vervain is a plant that you have to be careful in processing fresh every day. The roots could last a long time, about 6 months. And this is one of the things that we find in the United States, that because our brothers and sisters do not get the fresh herbs, it prevents them from reaching that goal that they are seeking. And I really do believe that our brothers and sisters in the United States are really trying to do their best and trying to see how they could help, because it is impossible for me to think that a black man that belongs to the black race, a member of the black race then, would deliberately take upon themselves the position to destroy us by recommending things that does not work. No, that is not their position. We know that. We know they mean well. But because they do not have the privilege of using plants like this one, fresh, so it will become effective. So this plant contains, again, iron, magnesium, phosphorus, but one of the things that I like of it contains zinc and also potassium phosphate. So it appeals to the central nerve system because of the potassium phosphate, which fights inflammation and treats the nervous system, and iron fluorine, which again addresses the blood. The blue vervain, this is among many of the plants that we use in various compounds, but this is one that I like very, very much because it makes me feel so good and it's so pretty. This is the blue vervain. Yes, brothers and sisters, this is the position of Usha, and these are some of the plants that the Usha Research Institute gladly present to you. And this is why we have been useful as we are in reversing disease, because Mother Nature has offered us plants that are electrical. Yes, we are proud to present this part of our operation, designed by Dr. Sebi with the help of Ms. Chandra Washington. This was designed approximately 12 years ago. Chandra and I sit in Washington, D.C. and thought about this, and here it is. And it gives me pride to say that a sister was the one that really did the better part of it. Not only in designing it, but then to maintain it and to make it what it is. Another sister by the name of Ma'a, assisted by Judy, assisted by Betsy, Elizabeth Volant, and assisted by Annette Thomas, and many, many others. Marjorie, all of them contributed to the presence of this particular place because they all work at Usha to make it an institute that could express itself on a level that the public would appreciate. So we are proud to show this part of our operation, the little village of Usha, designed on an African base. Here the beautiful mountaintop again appears at the Usha Research, which is part of the mountain range known as the Nombre de Dios. And in the back and here in front of us we see now these little beautiful round buildings, which are the thermal baths. These baths is where you go and take your bath every day individually in your tub. And it was designed like an African little village, you know, which is part of our little scheme of thinking. You know, the black man, he always prefer round and square. And we have 6 beautiful little bathtubs that definitely have done for you and for others that which one expects. These are the interior, one of the interior of the thermal baths. If you notice it, they're made on a half moon structure. You know, we split the circle in half and you get a half moon. And it is here where people come and experience relaxation instantaneously. Stress leaves once you enter this water because the presence of the minerals plus the pH being a pH of 8.8, which is one of the highest attainable pH on the hydrogen ion concentration scale. pH means hydrogen ion concentration, meaning that your body would be energized immediately with oxygen and hydrogen, ionizing it, giving you energy and relaxing at the same time.